We, the Paul and Paulette Reveres. I think we found our friend Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A., are you there, my friend?
What's going on, Big Tom? How are you, sir?
I'm all right. Now, what's going on with you and Hannity? Were you not on my show first, yes or no?
I'm sorry, what's going on with Hannity and myself?
Were you not on my radio show before his?
Absolutely.
I believe in a monogamous host guest. I mean, I can't bring you on anymore. You're on everybody else's show.
Let me tell you something right now. Anytime Mark Levin calls me, I will shove everybody to the side, especially your crazy friend and mine, Sean Hannity. I love him, but he's nuts sometimes. But
he is a sweetheart. He really is a.
He's a great guy. And I take a lot of heat because of the relationship we've cultivated. But like I've said on the air to many people, Sean is he just can't stand liberals. That's all. There's not a prejudice bone in his body outside.
Well, now, wait
a
minute. If he can't stand liberals, what do you say about your friendship with me?
Oh, well, I say the same thing. I say you can't stand liberals even more so than him. But I think that a lot of people, the emotions get involved, and they don't listen a lot of times to the facts. They assume how you feel because it's different than what they believe, and they've been convinced that you guys are something that I don't believe that you are. And I think that that's a problem. And what I try to tell the people in my community, the people that I know, I say they're conservatives, hardcore conservatives. This is what they believe. If you have a problem with it, then bring the facts to them and debate it intelligently, or be quiet and step aside. That's just what I believe.
Good man.
I've always been that way.
And people don't know, you email me from time to time, and you're very supportive when I lay out facts. And so I want to ask you a question because I need your help to walk through this.
Okay.
I am a football fanatic. The problem is I can't really figure out what's going on this year. May I talk a little football with you?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Let's talk about the division in which we got this, always seem to have very strong teams, Dallas, and we've got the Eagles and the Redskins and the Giants. How does that division look to you?
Well, Dallas is clearly the class of the NFC East. I mean, they've got all their weapons. They're loaded. They're ready to roll. There's no denying that. I mean, they're loaded from top to bottom. You still got Tony Romo coming back. Miles Austin has really emerged. That billion-dollar playhouse that Jerry Jones has built. They're hosting the Super Bowl this year. They've got a stellar defense. And more importantly than anything else, the Giants are still weak. They need Plexico Burress back in the worst way. They're going to have to wait a while until after next season to get him. The Redskins may have Donovan McNabb and a strong defense, but their offense still leaves a lot to be desired. So when you take those things into consideration, it comes down to Dallas and the NFC East, and a lot of people are assuming that they have a legitimate shot to get to the Super Bowl. But I think Minnesota, New Orleans, and Green Bay will have something to say about that.
And let me ask you this: you didn't mention the Eagles.
Oh, because I don't feel like mentioning the Eagles. I think they made a huge mistake by getting rid of Donovan McNabb. And here's been my position from day one, Mark. If you let go of Donovan McNabb because you want to go towards a youth movement, I respect that. If you let go of Donovan McNabb because you don't want to pay him an exorbitant maximum style contract after this season, I respect that. But the Eagles said neither. What they said was Kevin Cobb, who started a grand total of 2 games in his professional career, is qualified to replace a man that has passed for more than 32,000 yards in his 11th season, has taken the team to the postseason 8 times, has been to 5 NFC championship games, and 1 trip to the Super Bowl. The Eagles are trying to sell us that Kevin Cobb is ready to step in and fill the shoes left behind by Donovan McNabb. I think that insults all of our intelligence, and because of that, I don't even mention the Eagles.
Well, now, let me say this. I'm not a Michael Vick fan. We had this discussion. But that said, we're going to see a lot of him, aren't we?
That remains to be seen. They believe that Kevin Cobb is ready, and they believe that he's ready to fill in for Donovan McNabb. I've got serious questions about that. If he doesn't produce, then obviously Michael Vick is in the last year of his contract, and he's hoping that his number will get called so he can have an opportunity to prove himself, resurrect his career, and start getting paid exorbitant dollars again, even though he's getting paid about $5 million this year. But this is clearly Kevin Cobb's team. Andy Reid's going to stand by him, and it's his job to lose.
I heard this, I don't know if it's true or not, that the Redskins were the only team that would take McNabb. Is that true?
Well, what happened was the Oakland Raiders wanted him, but he refused to go to the Oakland Raiders or the Buffalo Bills. He wasn't interested, and it got to the point where his only two options were Washington and Oakland, and he said, there's no way in hell I'm going to Oakland. So they had no choice but to ship him to Washington, because so badly had they mishandled the entire situation in regards to all those trade rumors, you couldn't possibly bring him back to the Philadelphia Eagles because you had sullied his name by throwing out hints that he was pretty much done and you were ready to move in a different direction. The Eagles front office totally mishandled that situation.
Well, now, who did handle that? Was it Reid? I can't imagine it was him because he's kind of buddies.
It was really Joe. It was really Joe Banner and his number 2 guy. But obviously, Reid has successfully protected Donovan McNabb all of these years. So the fact that he couldn't this time around, I think, speaks volumes because ultimately it does come down to Andy Reid.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all very interesting. So I can't wait. When does the season actually begin?
It starts in about 3 weeks, September 9th. I mean, it's going to be real interesting. We'll see what happens. They've got a strong defense, though. NFC East is going to be very, very interesting, but the Giants looked like an absolute joke against the Jets the other day. The Jets looked ready for the regular season to start that night. The Giants looked like they needed another 2 months. So they're going to have to do something to get their shop in order if they're going to have any kind of successful season this year.
What about the 49ers?
They're decent, but I'm not sold on Alex Smith. Frank Gore is a stud. Michael Crabtree is a stud. Mike Singletary takes no mess. They just added Brian Westbrook, who started for the Eagles for years, but he's had some concussion issues, which is why he couldn't get a job. I've got some confidence in their defense. I've got confidence in their running games. I don't have confidence in their quarterback. I can see them going 9-7. I can't predict they'll do any better than that.
Mm-hmm. Let me throw one more at you. Tampa.
Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. You don't
hold on. I'm just showing everybody how smart you are. I'm going to throw out one city after another, and you're going to Detroit. Don't waste my time.
Well, you know what? Matthew Stafford is a good quarterback. They got this kid. They drafted Ndamukong Suh, who should have won the Heisman Trophy. He was the best defensive player in college football last year. They got him with the number 2 overall pick. He's going to be a stud, so he'll help their defense. Not to mention the fact they got this kid out of Fresno named Javid Best. And I'm hearing this kid is absolutely spectacular. So he can do some things. And by the way, they have nowhere to go but up. Matt Millen obviously destroyed that franchise what seemed like for eternity. He's finally gone, thank the good Lord. And now they've got a decent organization. They're moving in a forward direction. They've got a credible quarterback. And they're playing in a city that's struggling tremendously economically, as you well know better than most of us. So the reality is that they've got something to play for, something to inspire them on a weekly basis. And I think that you'll see them be decent. But decent in their world is more like a 5-11 season as opposed to 1-15, 0-16, or 2-14.
Yeah. All right, 2 more. You ready?
Yeah.
Seattle.
Pete Carroll is a person that I think that will do a good job. He's got a lot of young talent on those guys. Hasselbeck still remains to be seen if he's going to get out of his doldrums and be the quarterback that led them to the Super Bowl years ago. But at the same time, they've got a relatively young squad because they just completely did an entire makeover. I'm also not too big of a fan of Pete Carroll right now in this sense. I know he's an outstanding coach, but I really have a personal problem, Mark, with the fact that Reggie Bush can suffer from, supposedly taking gifts and what have you from a wannabe agent, and his Heisman Trophy has been removed, and he's not allowed on campus, and any records of him being at USC has now been omitted and obliterated. But somehow, some way, the head coach that was responsible for presiding over the program, not only does he leave, but he gets to walk away for a 5-year, $35 million contract. to coach and preside over the Seattle Seahawks franchise. There's something about that really rubs me the wrong way. I think if the player suffers, the coach should suffer as well, particularly since the program is on 2 years probation. I'm talking about USC. They're banned from the postseason for 2 years. Why are they banned and Reggie Bush is banned, but Carroll gets to get a raise and elevate his game to the NFL level?
That's a very good point. Very good point. Stephen A., God bless you, my friend. I was just messing with you. You go on any show you want to, but just remember, it started right here, baby.
Mark. Always appreciate you, buddy. Thanks a lot.
All right, God bless.